Here to present the city's budget for the next 2 years, Mayor Ed Lee, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you, President Breed and Budget Chair Farrell and members of the board. Thank you, all of our elected officials, our commissioners, our department heads, labor, our wonderful community leaders. Thank you very much for being here. And thank you all for being such a great partner in helping me deliver to the people of San Francisco a balanced budget that sets our city up for long-lasting success. Our city's budget is a reflection of our values, and we are making historic investments to make sure our city remains safe, solvent, and successful, and a city in which everyone can prosper. It was just a few short years ago that we were suffering from an entrenched economic recession, nearly double-digit unemployment, and massive budget shortfalls. And then we were forced to make some very hard decisions. I remember those, along with many of you department heads as well. But today, thanks to our budget discipline, our smart economic policies, and our focus on job creation, and the innovation and resiliency of our residents and business community, we're at a unique position to ensure that every resident can share in the prosperity of our city. We have an opportunity to ensure that we have a safe city, a caring city, an educated city, a livable city, a city that moves, and a city that meets our affordability challenges. My budget doubles down on our public safety investments to meet the needs of a growing city and the growing demands of our first responders. We will, through this budget, hire 400 additional police officers, 198 firefighters, 55 paramedics, and 36 911 dispatchers. And in addition, for the first time in a decade, we have the opportunity to hire at least 30 cadets who will join our public safety system in very short years. And I know that we all agree that a safe San Francisco is about more than public safety. It is also about strengthening our social safety net so that we are a caring city. And at the heart of our system of care is our San Francisco General Hospital, which will open later this year. And I'm proud that we have worked together to build a new, seismically safe, state-of-the-art hospital that will serve our city for generations. My budget includes 118 new medical staff to deliver world-class care at SF General. And our wonderful community-based organizations that also provide quality health care and other social services to our residents, they all will receive a 5% increase over the next 2 years. But with these new resources, we must agree to work together to ensure both sustainability and as well as accountability. And that's why, together with the nonprofit community, we will develop a plan to address these important issues. And this year, my budget will also make unprecedented investments to serve and house our homeless. We're seeing real successes in our innovative navigation center, but we must ensure that we have true exits from homelessness. And that's why we are including in this budget 500 units of new supportive housing for homeless individuals in this budget. And this year, through our stepped-up efforts, we will end chronic homelessness for veterans. We must though, do more. Now is the time to take up a very complicated challenge, but one that I and my administration and the Board of Supervisors are willing to take up, and that is ending family homelessness. With a strong partnership between the city, the community, and philanthropy, I know together we can rise to the challenge of ending family homelessness. And speaking of families, let's remember that seniors are an important and growing part of our city. We need to make sure we are serving this growing population. My budget includes $7.4 million of new investments to clear the home-delivered meals wait list, to make sure people can live in their homes longer, and expand senior center programs. And these investments represent only a down payment on the true need. And that is why I've asked my staff to work together with the advocates of the Dignity Fund, a fund that is a program that's modeled after our very successful transportation task force that lets us work together to develop a roadmap that outlines both the needs in our communities and the recommendations for sustainable funding. And at the same time, we must invest in our youth and the future. So thanks to the leadership of the Board of Education and Superintendent Carranza, we continue to be one of the top-performing urban district schools in California, and by many measures, in the nation. We have all worked together to be a stronger city with stronger and better public schools, but we know we have to do more, and we have to make sure that our investments lead to the outcomes that our kids deserve. We know that we have to be prepared for the succession to the 21st century of our economy, and that our city needs to remain affordable. And that's why my budget includes over $690 million to support San Francisco's public schools, preschool for all, the programs there, and summer programs, and after-school programs to clear out the waiting lists. We are making sure our children are educated and ready to succeed by working together to reauthorize the Children's Fund and Public Education Enrichment Fund, and through our bold new efforts to improve outcomes for all of our San Francisco's children and families, we are establishing Our Children, Our Families Council. Not one agency alone can tackle the challenges that many of our families face. And thanks to the voter-approved Proposition C of last year, we are bringing together the city, the school district, and the community to this council to create a policy agenda that truly puts children and families first. In San Francisco, with more people living and working than in any other time in our history, we must continue to be a livable city. And that's why we'll invest over $253 million in our capital plan to maintain streets and roads, invest in access for people with disabilities, and make water-wise investments to address the drought. We'll invest in our public spaces and urban forestry and make sure our streets are cleaner, safer, and more enjoyable. And while we're doing that, we'll continue to invest in our parks, our playgrounds, and libraries. This coming year, working together in a process led by Supervisor Farrell, partnering with the community, we'll develop a shared understanding about the parks and open spaces that our city needs as we grow, and have recommendations for sustainable funding strategies to meet those needs. Now, livability is more than just the physical environment around us. It is also about the vibrancy of our city and our neighborhoods. My budget includes new funding from our Arts Shared Prosperity Agenda, with more than $7 million to support artists, cultural equity, and generally into our arts ecosystem. I am challenging my mayor's Office of Housing the Arts Commission, and the Office of Community Investment and Infrastructure to work together to bring me a plan to build artist housing in San Francisco. And we need to move people around our city better and faster. Our investment in our city's public transportation will make Muni more reliable, safe, clean, and ready to meet the demands of a growing city and a growing ridership. Our voters approved investments in transportation infrastructure without raising property taxes, and will improve Muni and make it easier to move around by bus, by car, by bicycle, and on foot. Our riders do deserve a 21st century transportation experience with improved service and less crowding by moving Muni forward. The result is that our SFMTA's first ever $1 billion operating budget to improve transit performance and reliability. Our MTA operates the nation's 8th largest public transit system, and it serves every community. To invest in the future of Muni, my proposed budget also includes significant investment in capital improvements, including nearly $26 million for new hybrid buses and light rail vehicles, and almost $6 million in street and pedestrian safety projects to move the city closer to its Vision Zero, the goal of eliminating traffic fatalities by 2024. We are also ensuring that Muni remains accessible with our free Muni programs for seniors, for people with disabilities, and our youth. And if we're going to talk about affordability, we must talk about housing, and housing that is affordable to low and middle income families promotes diversity, equity, and economic vitality, which are the cornerstones of our thriving city. Well, you must know that every day I work on this issue, and every day I challenge my staff to do more, to work with the community to confront head-on with real solutions our city's housing crisis that demands our continued and aggressive action. And that's why in 2012, we created the Housing Trust Fund that now over the next 2 years will invest over $79 million in affordable housing development, neighborhood stabilization, and more. But we're not stopping there. We've been working hard at the state level to ensure that San Francisco has the ability to build the housing that was promised through the previous redevelopment agency, but we can do so on an accelerated timeline. And as a result, we expect to be able to invest in nearly 1,800 units of new affordable housing in the next 5 years, nearly 1,000 more units than we would have been able to do so if we hadn't gotten the legislative changes at the state. We're investing more money in eviction protection. This year, funding will grow to $6.4 million to make sure our longtime residents can stay in their homes. We also have to innovate around the delivery of affordable housing. We need to build more quickly. We need to be able to acquire property more quickly, and we need to engage our development partners more effectively. We also know that we need resources to build housing now. And that's why we are proposing a $250 million housing bond to speed up construction of housing for low and middle-income families without raising property taxes. This bond increases our investment in housing to stabilize existing neighborhoods and builds on our goal to build and rehabilitate 30,000 homes by 2020. The 2015 Affordable Housing Bond is a crucial component of our $1.1 billion 5-year affordable housing response plan that will deliver more than 10,700 permanently affordable low and middle income family homes. Well, we can't do this alone, and that's why we need a housing accelerator fund to attract and secure private sector investment in affordable housing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I know we can do all of this together. We must continue to build housing that's affordable to people across all income spectrums in order to generate the revenues to build even more affordable housing. Over the next 2 years, new market rate development is anticipated to generate more than $100 million in affordable housing fees that can be put to work to secure sites and build housing throughout the city. With the success of our city, we have a special opportunity to ensure the prosperity of our city extends to all of our city's residents. And I believe this is a balanced and responsible budget that not only safeguards vital city services and is affordable over the long term, but it is a budget that makes smart investments to keep our city safe, solvent, and successful. We'll continue to invest in diverse neighborhoods, in our infrastructure, and most importantly, in the people of San Francisco to make sure we remain a city for everyone. I take this opportunity to thank the group of people that have been working very hard, including the weekends, on this budget. That is my budget staff led by Kate Howard. I also like to extend a warm thank you again to the entire controller staff led by Ben Rosenfield, who's been working hard alongside. And I would like to, in anticipation, thank each and every member of the Board of Supervisors, your budget chair, and of course, Mr. Harvey Rose for your anticipated collaboration on this budget. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Let's get this budget approved and let's get to work. Thank you.